Hello everybody, Coach Troy here. Welcome to the study. Taking a break from the usual workouts to talk about my favorite two-player games. Now, a couple caveats. I haven't played every game. That's just not possible. Second off, these are only the games that I own. I have a healthy amount of board games. Probably an unhealthy amount of board games. I got quite a bit. So, these are only the ones that I currently own. I've cycled through a few. Some probably I should not have gotten rid of that I did. Others that I definitely should pick up that I haven't. So that is the caveats for the list. Let's begin. My number 10 is Blokus, or Blokus, or Blokus if you want to be fancy about it. This is a variation of a 4-player game. This is the travel version, otherwise known as Blokus Duo. It only plays 2-player. Now in this game here, you're going to have these different Tetris-like pieces. You're going to be placing them on the board, connecting only by corners. Now players will take turns putting pieces on the board, connecting them, until the board completely fills. You're trying to get as many of your pieces, or as many of the little squares on each of your pieces on the board as possible. Whoever, after nobody can place any more on, has the most, wins the game. It's fairly small, it's easy to learn and to play and to figure out how, but you do get a lot of good back and forth competition in it. You know, it's a game that my girlfriend will play with me as well, and that is my number 10. Blokus Duo. My number 9, The Rivals for Catan, or Catan, as I believe it's supposed to be pronounced. Now, this game, it's not like your normal Settlers of Catan, or Catan as it's just called now. It's a 2-player variation. It's almost more of it's kind of a dice game in a way. It plays very differently. The trading is not the same, but there are some other, there are other parts of it. It changes in a way that makes it fun. Now, just like in regular Catan, you're going to be rolling dice here to collect different resources to build up different cities, settlements, and roads to connect them. Now how it differs is you're going to be having different things you can add to your cities and settlements, like buildings that are going to give you different bonuses, ships that you can use for trades, and even people to put into your cities and settlements that are going to give you different bonuses and things. So while there's no trading, there are other ways that you're going to build up your cities and settlements to get the required amount of victory points to win the game. Now in this box, they have the base game, and there's 3 different ages or variations on how to play the game. There'll be like different cards and whatnot that change up how you would play and what you'd be going for, different strategies on getting points. It's different, it's fun, I would recommend it. My number 8, Hey, That's My Fish. This kind of looks like a kid's game. It looks cute, right? Penguins. Do not be fooled. This is one of the most cutthroat, vicious games of getting fish you will ever see. Now, this is up to 4 players, but the 3 and 4 player gets really chaotic, so I feel it's best at 2. And Hey, That's My Fish, you're going to take your little penguin pieces here, you're going to be moving them around the board, and once you move them off of a tile, you're going to collect that tile, gaining however many fish there are. That's how many points you get, between 1 and 3. You're going to find that you're going to get penguins stuck on their little isolated areas. You're going to be cutting each other off. You're going to be going back and forth trying to get as many fish as possible. Whoever has the most fish at the end of the game wins. So it's cute artwork. It's a little bit of a pain to set up. Lots of little tiles you got to go through, but it's a lot of fun and it's vicious. I always think about it as trying to starve out my opponent from stopping them from getting fish. So I would definitely recommend my number 8. Hey, that's my fish. My number 7, Mr. Jack Pocket. Now this is a tiny, tiny little box, but inside is a pretty good game. It's asymmetrical. One will play as Sherlock Holmes, and the other will play as Jack the Ripper trying to escape. It's kind of a deduction game. Not necessarily deduction, but definitely it's eliminating all the different possibilities type of game. So you're going to be playing very different games depending on which character you are and trying to do different things. In Mr. Jack Pocket, one player is going to take the role of Sherlock Holmes, Watson, and their dog, I guess. The other one is Jack the Ripper, who is secretly one of these characters. Now, you're going to flip for your options, and you're going to take turns picking which one you're going to do. You can either move the inspectors, turn the cards, swap the cards, and whatnot. And then at the end of the turn, you're going to be able to eliminate suspects based on who you can see and who you can't see through these different alleyways. You're going to have up to 8 rounds to do this, depending on which character is actually Mr. Jack. I say this game comes in a small box. It plays in about 15 minutes, but it is a lot of fun. I recommend my number 7, Mr. Jack Pocket. My number 6, Timeline. Another small box game. Now, this one, don't be fooled again. It's dates, but you don't necessarily have to remember the dates. It's not like a trivia, you get it right or you get it wrong. It's different. It applies deductive reasoning. Okay, so it's a thinky game a little bit, but it's not like you know it or you don't, so you get punished if you don't. You can figure it out, and you do kind of learn a little bit. On some, you are going to know the exact dates, like on the American history ones or Americana ones. You might know that. Or some of the other ones, like science and discoveries, you might know certain things. But most of it, you're not going to know the exact date. But that's okay, because you figure out where it goes. Now in Timeline, they're going to have a timeline of cards. Each player is going to have 5 cards. What you're going to do is take your card and figure out where it belongs in the timeline. For example, I have the invention of the water clock. Now where does that belong in here? Do I believe it was before or after the invention of fencing? I'm going to say after, but before the invention of the safety razor. Wow, I was definitely wrong, so it goes in the timeline and I have to draw a new card. If I was to get it right, it would stay in the timeline. Now players will take turns, and whoever gets rid of all 5 of their cards first is the winner. Now with Timeline, you can play with just one box, but the more you get, the better. I've got 6 of them all mixed up together, and that makes it a lot more interesting and a lot more fun. It's another game that my girlfriend really likes. We can take it, play a few rounds of it at a restaurant while waiting for our lunch or whatever. In fact, that's probably where we play it the most. Is at Roman's Cafe, just a little bit down the street, as we're waiting for brunch. Yeah, it's a fantastic game. My number 6, Timeline. My number 5, Tides of Madness. Now, I love the Cthulhu mythos a lot. I think it's fantastic. You're not going to get a big feel out of that from this game. Um, but it is a fun card game. It's drafting back and forth, trying to create the best combinations of cards. In Tides of Madness, players are going to simultaneously draft cards. Now on these cards, you're going to have different symbols and rules for getting points based on which symbols you have. Some cards aren't going to have any symbols at all, but just rules that will only apply to you. And some cards will have these tentacles on the side, one of the trademarks of any Cthulhu Mythos game. Now, if you draft a card that has one of those, you're going to gain a Madness token. You're going to play this game for 3 rounds of drafting. Each round is you're going to introduce new cards and eliminate some of the old cards. When the game is over, whoever has the most points wins. However, the game can immediately end if one player gets too many of these Doom tokens. Now, as you see, you're not going to get a lot of Cthulhu feel out of playing the game, but the artwork on these cards is amazing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And the gameplay it's pretty fun. There's another one, Tides of Time, that this game is based off. This just has one other element, which I kind of like. It kind of adds a little pressure and a different thought process to which cards you're going to pick, which cards you're going to draft. That's my number 5, Tides of Madness. My number 4, Hero Realms, or Star Realms. It's pretty much the same game. A lot of fun, plays in about 15 minutes, deck building. So if you like deck building and you like playing fast, getting through quickly, this is definitely a game for you. In Hero Realms, you're going to have just a basic deck of cards to start, and you use your money here to buy other cards. These other cards are going to be different things like champions and actions. And once you buy them, you're going to put them in your discard. Once your deck of cards is done, you're going to shuffle it up, draw them again, and then you're going to use those actions and champions to attack your opponent, and whoever can bring their opponent's health or life down to 0 is the winner. Now I have here, my physical copy is Hero Realms, but on my phone I have the app for Star Realms. I play that one a lot as well. So it doesn't, if you like the space theme, get Star Realms. If you like the medieval theme, get Hero Realms. Either one doesn't matter, and you don't need all the extra stuff. I got a lot more with it, but all you need is the base games, and that's a lot of fun to play with. And that base deck. It's small. You can take it anywhere. Fantastic game. My number 4, Hero Realms or Star Realms. My number 3, Uncharted board game. Now, this is a tableau building game, so you're building up almost like a skills tree like you would in a video game, and you're using that to battle enemies and do journeys into finding different relics and whatnot. I really like this game. I have a lot of fun with the guy I coach wrestling with, Coach Young. We play this game after we have our wrestling meetings and whatnot, and it's a lot of fun. In Uncharted, each player is going to have a hand of cards, and from that they're going to be adding actions or weapons to their tableau that are going to give them the different bonuses and actions that they can do. You're going to use other cards from your hand as currency to pay for those. Also, you're going to be spending actions to go put search tokens on different expeditions looking for different artifacts. Also, you're going to be using your weapons to attack different enemies that are going to appear. You're going to get points based on the artifacts that you collect and the enemies that you defeat. 2 ways to win. Either you have the most points when the adventure deck runs out, or
if the opponent's health drops down to 0. Each player is going to have a different amount of health, and they also have different special abilities.
Now this game, did not get a lot of hype or a lot of buzz about it, but I think it was fantastic. Most games based off of video games, like most board games based off of video games, are crap. This one is really good. There is it plays actually plays 1 to 4. You can play there's a solo mode. It's not so great. 3 or 4 players gets a little too chaotic, but that 2-player, it's very back and forth strategic. I like that best. That is the best way to play this game. And I'd say it's an underrated game. I think it's a lot of fun, and I would definitely recommend that if you see this game somewhere, pick it up, get it. That is my number 3 Uncharted board game. My number 2, Star Wars Risk. Alright, now, I don't know why it says Risk. It plays nothing like any version of Risk you've ever played. And here's the deal. I don't like Star Wars. Okay? I don't get it. I enjoyed the first 3 movies when I was younger, when I was a kid. Those movies were, they were fun. I enjoyed them a lot. In fact, the 3rd movie, Return of the Jedi, was my favorite. Maybe that's why I like this one. This plays like the end of Return of the Jedi.
In Star Wars Risk, each player is going to have a deck of cards, and you're going to be playing different cards to take actions on 3 different battlefields. We have the battle for the deflector shield generator on Endor here, between the Rebels and the Imperial forces. Over here, taking place inside the Death Star, is going to be the lightsaber battle between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. And the main battle right here, as the Rebels are going to use their X, Y, and B wings right here to take on the Death Star, the Executor Star Destroyer, and of course tons of TIE fighters. Now, it does look a little overwhelming for the Rebels here, but keep in mind they do have the aluminum Falcon.
Like I said, I don't like Star Wars. I really like this game. I've had some super dramatic moments of having one ship left and just needing a certain die roll to take out the Death Star, but I actually managed to hit it. Or being the Imperial fleet and just decimating giant sections of the board where the Rebel fleet was huddled up at. This game is a lot of fun. It's back and forth. It can be a little swingy. It's dice rolling, so it can, a lot of it depends on how lucky you get. But a lot of it too is you have to set yourself up to be lucky. And what avenues are you going to go through to try to mitigate your luck? What sections are you going to focus on so you can win the game? If you get too invested in one and you don't look out for the others, you're not going to keep that balance and you're going to end up losing. A lot of fun. I highly recommend Star Wars Risk. My number 1 favorite 2-player games are any escape room games. Now, you can play these solitary or you can play with a group of people, but I find the best way to play these is with 2. Now, I'm not going to go over too much on how to play them because I don't want to do spoilers, and there's so many different kinds that they play differently. I'm kind of cheating probably with this number 1 because they say there's so many of them. True, you can only play them one time really, but I say there's so many of them and a lot of them are so cheap that it's worth it. It's worth it. Sure, we're not going out to the movies so much nowadays, but a $15 game, that's 2 movie tickets right there for 2 people without the popcorn and whatnot. So it's definitely worth it. And some of them have multiples. Some are, most play in about an hour. Some take a little longer. So you find one that works best for you. Like Escape Room, the game, that's gonna have a giant, what is that thing called again? The chrono decoder. So that's something that you're gonna physically be sticking keys into while you're ripping up pieces of different adventures, folding maps, writing on things. But it's gonna have, multiple ones in there. It's a little more pricey, but you've got 4 in there, plus there's expansions for it. The MacGyver one, that one you use your laptop as an add-on, and there's 4 different missions in there. You have 4 different missions, and things from missions will build on each other as you go through. The escape room game, or the exit games. Exit the game is this is probably one of my favorites. I like to actually meet up with my dad. We go to the coffee shop, and we'll sit there for an hour to 2 hours, depending on, some are way more difficult than others. And we'll play these games, and it's a good time. It's perfect with 2 people. You go back and forth, you discuss something that, I think this is going to work this way, and then you hand it over, and then your partner realizes, no, you've been doing it all wrong. This is how you're supposed to do it. This is what that means. You got to look at it from a different angle. It's just so much fun. Now the unlock games, these ones you're not actually destroying everything. You're going to use an app on your phone, so you will need your phone and an app for these. But you're not destroying them. So when you're done, you can resell them to somebody, or you can just pass them on to a friend and give them a shot at playing. I think my favorite ones, there's only 2 of these that were made, but the Escape the Room ones are Secret of the Stargazer's Manor and the Secret of Dr. Gravely's Retreat. These are the physical components that you're building things and putting together. It's a lot more hands-on. You're not really destroying anything, so you can reset them and again sell them and give them to somebody else. I've actually used some of these as team building exercises for my sports teams, like for captains and whatnot. Then next teams will vote on the next year's captains, and then I'll make them do something like this, some kind of escape room project where they have to learn how to work together and communicate together efficiently. And that's why I'm holding on to these. These games are so much fun. I would highly recommend any of the escape room games. There's one not here, the Werewolf Experiment. That one, another one. There's actual physical locks in that one. It's a little pricey than the others, but there's, like I say, physical locks that you're getting. You get that real escape room feel in these games. I love problem solving. I love puzzle solving. And just get a partner and work on one of these puzzles. You're gonna have a lot of fun. That's my top 10 list of my favorite 2-player games that I own. Let me know what you think, if you agree, or I'm sure a lot of you are going to absolutely disagree and tell me that some of my decisions are absolute rubbish. That's okay. Throw in the comments, give me some ideas on what I should be playing if I'm playing the wrong ones, or just give other people ideas, and just let it be known. What do you like? What are good games? It's never bad to have too much advice about games. So, thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of this. If you want me to do another games list some sort, let me know. And I'll see y'all next time. Anybody who disagrees with me, I want you to scratch their eyes out for me, okay? Can you do that? Yes, you can.